Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. I hope you're having a good day. And today, this is the first of the second, 2024. First of the second. Can you imagine? We're all the way in March. Am I saying March? Wow, I'm pushing all the way to March. We're in February. Can you believe that? February already. January, February, March, and all of a sudden we're going to be saying that we are in December. But nevertheless, still, let's go straight into the news and to see what is your top news. What is your top news? Let me know what is your top news. What do you think is the key news for you today over there on TikTok, over there on Facebook, and over there on Instagram? Actually, I'm not on Facebook today, so everyone, I would encourage you to join me on Instagram. Yeah, Instagram and also on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. But sorry, YouTube. YouTube is much better. Couldn't get onto Facebook for some reason. Also. Instagram and also. There we are. There we are. I'm just bringing Herbert. Herbert, hey, how are you doing, buddy? You all right?
My brother, how are you? I'm all right.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Fantastic. It's a great. I should say it's a good day. It's a good day. I'm not good for some people in the world, but it's good, you know.
Well, any day above ground is a good day.
Any day above ground is a good day. That is really important. And Garry, I think Garry is, I don't know, Garry is off. But Garry, when Garry comes back, I'll bring Garry in. But listen, one of the breaking news that just ago is that we've been following up Jamaica. The government or the governing party of the Labour Party have just announced that the the local government election will be on February the 26th. February the 26th will be the local government election, and February the 8th will be nomination day. I think they had a big conference a while ago, and what do you think about that?
I think it's long overdue.
Mm.
If you're if you're that confident in yourself, you shouldn't have a problem getting re-elected.
You mean you're
But
talking like the whichever
the,
person?
the, yeah, but for it to be dragged out, and forcing people to live under certain conditions, or forced to acknowledge that your government or the governing party is doing something exceptional is isn't good. I
Yeah,
think it's good that they've called the election, or otherwise fly the gate.
Flatgate. I
Mm.
think it is good because what it does, it gives some level of stability um to the country in some respect. Give some level of stability so people can actually maybe plan their lives, if anything like that. Um,
Well,
when it
maybe you
comes to
can see tourism numbers going up in February.
I'm sorry.
Maybe they can now see tourism numbers going up in February. Tourism arrivals going up in February for
Oh, you,
people
you
going
think
back
you
to
think
vote.
tourism morale will boost as a result
Well,
of this?
that's what Mala who Ford said when she came to London. If you want to vote, take a plane and go to Jamaica.
Okay, yes. Actually, the funny thing about it, I saw a couple persons on the Instagram when I was watching it a while ago, and what they were saying is call election so I can book my flight. They're saying call election so they can book their flight because yeah, that's a very interesting one. So therefore, there's going to be another type of election. We call it what should we call it? Election
To,
tourism election.
tourism election, yeah.
I think they are smart. I think they just pull another maybe Ed Bartlett does pull another one election.
No, I think it is rather antiquated that
Yes,
you're trying to encourage people to fly to Jamaica just to cast a ballot.
You think
right?
so?
I think it's 2024 now.
Mm.
You should be allowing people overseas to vote electronically.
You're very right about that. You're very right about that. There should be a diaspora voting where people overseas are able to vote. That
Of
that is
course,
that is so right.
as I think, as I've said before, the only purpose that we serve, and that is people in the diaspora, is to ensure that the remittances keep flowing in
Uh,
to boost the economy, right? But as it relates to having a voice, we do not have one
mm.
because we cannot vote. We are not allowed to vote.
Gary,
So
good evening. Yeah,
they
good
need
evening,
to
Gary.
fix that part of it.
Yeah. Gary, good evening. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. I'm okay.
Yes, yes.
Gary,
We
how
just
are you?
yeah, yeah.
I'm good, Herbert. How are you, man?
Mm.
I'm good.
We were just saying a while ago that the election has been called in Jamaica for a local government election, and many people are saying the view of the government is that they're watching this one. Depending on the outcome, you may find yourself with a general election coming up very soon. Yeah. So
Well,
this is the first step towards democracy, as they would say.
well, Jamaica always follows either the U.S. or the UK. And
In what?
Mm.
listening to what Herbert was saying, he's absolutely right. They need to. You see, again, why are they doing what they're doing? When you look at their actions over the last couple of months
Mm.
in various areas of the political
Sphere.
landscape,
Yes.
why are they doing what they're doing? They want to go into for instance, go back a bit to where
Yeah.
you became so involved in having these town hall meetings for a republic. They're doing that, and then when you come to this end, they want to go to post. They don't want to go to electronic voting. I mean, what's all that about?
Mm.
Are they
I, I,
are,
I
are they are they wanting
uh,
to leave out the 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 diaspora? That's
you mean
madness. They
you
can't
mean
involve the
it,
diaspora
mm.
in one area, and then when it comes to another area, they're leaving out the diaspora. I mean, that don't make sense.
Correct. Correct.
You mean in a sort of election like this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Any election rather.
they're not serious, man. These
I,
these people.
yeah. I tell you what I experienced in just 1 week. I experienced in 1 week in getting my children passports to be renewed, and it took 1 week. And normally they say it's 3 weeks. That's what the passport office say in the UK. 3 weeks or so. 1 week it took. Literally 1 week, 7 days. Boom. They knock on my door today. Drop off, But what I found very interesting was the whole synchronizing of the whole thing. It's all linked. Once a person approved the person who's supposed to help just to confirm their identity, once they did that, boom, it went straight into a system there, and they say it's going to be printed the next day. Everything just operated like clockwork. Jamaica is deemed to be a country which is supposed to be leading up to a developed country in 2030, and I've seen things in Jamaica that shows that Jamaica can do these things, but I believe that the will factor is not there. The will factor is not there for Jamaicans overseas to vote. The will factor is not there for certain things. So it's the mindset. A lot has to be changed.
The
The money.
mindset and the attitude
Mm,
of people in critical areas.
yes.
For example, if you apply for a passport in Jamaica, passport renewal, you pay for an express service.
Oh, you have to pay if you want to get it quick. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you pay for express service. It take you express should be 7 days. It probably take you 21 days,
Right, 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 right.
and that is not good enough because people have priorities. People have business to do.
Mm.
And if my thing is, if you pay for a service, if you advertise a service, people want that service. They pay for the service, give it to the people.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, anyway, a breaking thing which took place just a couple of days ago. Well, it was actually yesterday. I don't know if you guys have been following this.
Last night,
Yeah, this acid attack, and I find it interesting because when you go to like Selco and these places to buy acid these days, you know, sometimes you want these things for drainage. They don't do them anymore. Like once, I think it was one shot. They don't do it anymore over the counter. You know, because it is deemed as a weapon. I don't know if you followed it and you know what the full story there regarding
I
this.
was reading it. I was reading an article.
Mm,
I think, and this is my opinion again, I think it's a
yeah,
personal attack.
yes.
The fact is, the reason is, um, the suspect is from the north.
When they say north, you mean North London or north of the country?
No, not north of the country.
Yes.
And he went to a dealership in Newcastle to purchase a motor car.
Mm,
His identity was verified by the employees of the dealership.
yes. Yes.
So, in most cases where people have a motive or are hurt by someone, the first thing they try to do is to disfigure them. Let it be a lasting reminder of what they did. But in this case, it backfired on the suspect as well because he was seriously injured too.
As well. It is interesting because when I was listening and watching a bit on television, they went in the back of the car for a little child. It's like they were all together
Yes,
or something of that nature.
yes, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
It's
a family.
a
Yeah.
mother, her children.
Yeah, because they said police named the suspect they are hunting for in
Yes,
last night Alkali attack in Clapham, South London.
yes,
His picture was out there. I can't seem to find a picture to display it, but his
yeah.
picture
I
was
saw
out
it in
there.
Sky.
Yeah, as Abdul Shakur, AZD 35. He was last seen in a Tesco store on Caledonia Road, North London, and public police warned the public not to approach him. Ezedai, who police say traveled to London from Newcastle area, has a significant injury on his face. Is that injury emanated from the acid, or the fact that there's an injury on his face
No, no. It emanated from the attack.
from the attack? A
Because
mother
remember,
30, please.
nine
Yes,
people have been injured, including
yes,
police officers as well.
yeah. A mother 31 and her daughter, age 8 and 3, are in hospital after having a corrosive alkaline substance thrown at them. The mother and the younger girl's injuries could be life changing, police says. A witness heard the mother saying, I can't see, I can't see. Three women, two in their 30s and one in their 50s, who bravely came to the aid of the family, have been discharged from hospital. You know, um, yeah, this is a sad one, and of course, what they're looking at it in a general sense as attack against women. You know,
Um, I wouldn't go as far as to say an attack against women,
mm,
right? As the article said, he's from the Newcastle area.
yes,
It did not say anything about the women and the children as yet. It hasn't said anything.
yes, yes,
But this does not seem to be a random attack.
yeah.
It seems a bit more targeted to me.
Who
That's
did he
really
go
sad.
to?
Pardon?
Who did he go to attack?
The woman and the children.
So
Mm.
it's his wife? Is his wife
I'm
or
uh,
girl?
We
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure what the relationship is,
Yeah, they're sketchy on some of the
but
subjects. Yeah,
but he could have damaged it. he could have thrown the substance on anybody between Newcastle and London, but he chose to go to Clapham.
Mm.
So this cannot. I do not think it's a random attack. I think it's a targeted one.
Yeah, yeah, that's sad. That's sad. Anyhow, well, we hope that they get that everything goes well with them, and that nothing really happened untoward them. Uh, so the police have issued a new image taken from CCTV in a Tesco store on Caledonia Road, some 8 miles from the scene of the attack at 2048. Because there's rulings now in regards to acid. Acid cannot just purchase acid anymore in stores. It's all sort of regulated now. It's a bit similar to knife because
Yeah.
there's a period of time where people are just throwing acid at people, and there are a couple of girls or a couple of incidents. It's ladies actually who have been disfigured as a result of acid. So that is something which, the authorities have sort of clamped down on. Even persons wanting acid, like the one shot thing to pour in their drains, their toilet, or whatever like that. They are very conscious about that. So we wish the family well, and hope that they catch the culprit as well. You know, it's unfortunate.
Well,
Shock.
he's not hard to be caught.
Huh?
He did not hard. He's not hard to find because he's walking around looking like Esplank.
Yes, yes, yes. I think what the authorities are saying, people just to be very careful approaching him. Um, thanks. Cool shade. How are you? And how are you guys on TikTok? Please remember to share the video and share this video as much as possible. Um, Brexit, Brexit. 4 years of Brexit. It's a big anniversary, and people are champing their cause for Brexit. Today the Department of Business and Trade will be publishing an update detailing the wealth of Brexit benefits the government have seized since the UK left the European Union on 31st of January 2020. Since the UK departure from the EU, this government, as is the reading here, have cut burdensome red tape for business. We have built dozens of trading relationships with new friends and old allies, and we have taken back control of our laws, borders, and tariff. This newfound agility was crucial in helping us get through the pandemic with the fastest vaccine rolled out in Europe, which in turn allowed the UK to reopen the economy even sooner. Where some predicted decline for Britain's economy after Brexit, the UK has shown expansion. Garry, what's your take on this? I mean, I was in Westminster the night when Brexit came. They called it the Brexit night. I was there in Brixton, in Westminster. You know, Garry, what's your take on Brexit? Is it been good or bad so far? I know you're a Brexiter, you bloody Brexiters.
I won't answer you. I won't answer that. But but you see, what has made Brexit bad in the taste of the nation, I would say right now,
Mm,
is from the fact that Boris Johnson, initially he was not a Brexiter. Initially he was against it, right? Then he became enthralled in having Brexit because he wanted to be prime minister.
yes.
When he then became prime minister, he had no plan. They had no plan. I think it was Davis that he
Yeah.
appointed as the Brexit minister,
Brexit
and it
secretary.
was it was documented that when he in his first meeting, he didn't go with any plan. He didn't even go with pen and paper. He had nothing. They had nothing. They didn't know
Mm,
what to expect. So there was no vision, there was no thought, there was no discussion. They didn't know how they were going to sort that out. It's almost similar to what he did with Northern Ireland and having the Brexit, the demarcation line in the middle of the sea, the Irish Sea. No, I
Yes.
mean, all these things it's just plain stupidity, man. It's just
Yes.
really plain stupidity.
Yes.
And we have not the United Kingdom has not had the benefits of what the Brexit could have
Really.
done. We don't know what it could have done because it's just been stumbling over things now. That's all this government has been doing, stumbling over things as they go along. Because they didn't have any plan. There was no vision, and it would have been better if England just stayed in Europe.
Stayed in
Because
Europe.
as far yeah, that is as what I can see. Because if England was in Europe right now, right,
Yeah.
in as much as all of the negative and the disadvantages that may have come along with that, because whichever way you weigh things up, whether it's Brexit, the best of Brexit, or the best of Europe, there's going to be disadvantages. There's going to be some degree of negative responses in them. But I do believe that if England had stayed in Europe, England would have been receiving much more money, much more grants, much more, of everything, funding. People would get more funding. The goods and the services that were coming over would still be
And
flowing
and
and more,
and do you
within.
think and do you think at the same time there would be better control at the borders with the boat people? They'll be getting that support.
Well, again, that's part of the negative, isn't it? That's part of the negatives because that is what England. That's what the British people are running from. They don't want Europe to control their borders. I mean, from the very moment. I mean, if you can remember Margaret Thatcher
Yeah.
wouldn't hand that over. There were no governments that wanted to hand over the borders to the European Parliament. Why? Because if Europe had its way, everybody would come in. There would be no drawbacks. I mean, them borders, we wouldn't have the problems that we have now. We'd have different problems where we would be swamped, or the UK would be absolutely swamped, just like how Germany has been swamped with all of the um, the that community coming over. Absolutely. So, so England has always had it that they want to have control on their borders, and that has been the sticky wicket, or the sticky point between European Parliament, and the British Parliament.
What's your take on this, Herbert? Regarding
England England was never fully integrated into the EU.
mm,
Reason: their currency did not change from this pound sterling to the euros. First thing,
yeah,
right? All the other countries, France, Germany, all of them change their currencies.
yeah,
One common currency. And if you did not have that, then you cannot say you're a part of a system. Second, it it has not worked, and it will not work
mm,
because there are certain rules that the EU is governed by, and the UK does not want to be a part of anything that is organized. If you can remember when
the UK don't want to be a part of anything which is
that
organized by
yes,
Europe or
that
organized generally.
that is organized where there are rules,
Yes.
right?
Mm,
If you remember when the accounts of David Cameron and Nick Farage was made public by through the Panama Papers,
Mm.
it was around that time the EU Brexit started to come come to the fore,
Yeah.
right? Because if that didn't happen, they would have to they would have to answer questions about
Yeah.
their overseas bank accounts, and they wanted to keep their bank accounts secret
Mm.
while while we are subjected to all their financial rules. So for me, even though I've only been here, I came right on the tail end of
Oh, Brexit.
yeah, right. Um, they were not fully into the EU business.
So they're not. So in a sense, and it'd be great what people are saying. Someone said there's nothing new under the sun. I think the question is, if you think if people go back to vote again, do you think there would be Brexit, or there would be because what studies have shown is that the majority of people who voted for Brexit were the people who actually put UK into Europe. They took them back out because they said what they did was putting UK, England into Europe, but then the outcome wasn't what they planned. So that is why most of these people, the elderly folks, have taken back the UK out of Europe.
Well, people will say anything
Mm.
that suit their narrative,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
But if the people that voted Brexit back in 2016 should have a second bite at the cherry, I'm certain that they would reconsider
Yeah.
because now they cannot buy petrol for their cars,
But
right?
but but then but what I find very
Energy
interesting.
cost has
Sorry, go on.
increased.
Yeah. Yeah.
Energy cost is increased,
Mm.
right? So too is the basic food.
Mm. You see, I think one of the overwhelming factor, and I pick up here someone, people left the EU because of rules dictated by from unelected bureaucrats that are like a cult. That is one of the strong factors there. And Agile, who is online, who's saying that you're right, Gary, the flower industry is lame and struggling, so expensive to buy quality flowers. I think one of the most overpowering or overwhelming reason why a lot of people voted Brexit was because of what someone said here on TikTok. People left the EU because of rules dictated from unelected bureaucrats that are like a cult. That I found was one of the strong factors. People just don't like to be controlled by the EU, separate and apart from, because when one look also at some of they talk about Brexit. 4 years on from Brexit, the UK financial services sector has not been impacted as strongly as it might have been suggested previously. However, international trade relations are yet to make up for the missing ones with the EU, according to a report by asset finance broker Anglo Scottish Finance. The UK left the European Union on 31st of January 2020. One of the biggest fears was that the country's financial sector, accounting for 12% of GDP, would see a huge decline. But there's a lot of intervening factors that came in, isn't it? Brexit, not Brexit, the pandemic was a key factor that never allowed things to flow properly on an equal footing. Is that a fair statement, Gary? That the pandemic sort of intervened or intercepted the process, that there wasn't a proper flow, and what people have to say, what Adriel say, what Coolbree says.
Um, I don't know if I'm understanding the question correctly, but who really voted for Brexit? Which group of people,
Yeah.
really voted for Brexit? Who
The
were the
majority of them
largest?
was the white indigenous, in the,
It was
and
the
the red
what?
wall. It
Right.
wasn't a Tory thing. It wasn't just a Tory thing.
No, it was the British
Yeah.
indigenous people,
Yes.
and it was the older set. It
Yes.
was the older. It was the older generation that voted for Brexit. There may have
Yes.
been some young people. There may have been some people of our age group, but it was
Yes.
majority the older set. That's from what I've understood. Because our children, this generation, they're the ones that's traveling.
Yes.
They're the ones that is moving around. They're the ones that are getting the jobs in Europe.
Yes.
It was even advertised that really Europe was the new United States
Yes.
where the jobs would be generated and the future was bright in Europe. Now that has been cut short. Where are the jobs, or where are the people to take these jobs? A lot
Yes.
of the young people, they're leaving the United Kingdom. They're going to they're going to Europe, or they're going to the States, or they're going to Australia or New Zealand, where they can get the jobs.
Mm.
The businesses here, they're crying out for employees. They they don't have enough people here to fill. And even if they do offer the jobs, they're not paying the money.
Yes.
So it's, I don't know if it's worked. And again, it didn't work. And I do understand what Herbert is saying. And he's right on that, because England never ditched the pound. They
Yeah.
never ditched the pound. And when they did, if you remember, I don't know if Herbert was here at the time, but Sylbourne, I think you should remember when they did try to tie the pound to the euro, the interest
Yeah.
rates went through the roof, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
economy almost tanked, as they said. I think it was Lamont who who was the chancellor of the exchequer at the time, and they had to come out. They had to bail out of the out of the euro, because it was putting too much pressure on the pound.
Yes.
So all of those factors, including again the one that Herbert said, England was never really truly integrated. Never
Well, what,
truly integrated.
but if you look at
Never.
one, yeah,
It didn't work.
sorry, Gordon. If you look at the figures, and someone has mentioned, and I just did research, who wanted to leave the European Union, 17,410 wanted to leave, voted 51.89, and to remain a member of the European Union was 16.1 million, 48.11%, and and the valid votes was 33,551. So it was a massive turnout of persons that came out to vote. Really, 17.4 leave, 16.1 remain, and it was a big thing. David Cameron never believed that it would have gone that way. As you rightly say, Herbert, Boris never thought. Well, he just flowed with it because he said it was a political thing for Boris. That's what he says, a political thing for Boris. At the
Remember,
same time,
it was Boris that sequestered Parliament,
yeah,
so his ideologies could be put across.
mm, mm,
Remember, they had to go to the High Court for him to reinstate Parliament,
yes, yes,
right? So while he didn't go with a plan, which I do not think he had he ever harbored any kind of plan. Not a plan to go to his barber or to his tailor, anything,
mm,
right? He was instrumental in putting a narrative across to people which they believed.
Yes,
And that
yes.
was why he won the election in December 2019.
And to be honest with you, this election coming up is going to be very, very, very interesting because a lot of areas, constituents, loan their votes to the Conservative or loan their votes to Boris. A lot of it was because of Brexit at the same time, and a lot of it because of the promises. So we are going to see what this election, whenever the election is called, sometime by the end of the year, how it unfolds. Um, is it going to be uh, a Labour government or is it going to be a Conservative government? I mean, we have been there before when we had David Ed Miliband, we had a plaque to say that we're going to win. He lost. We had Jeremy Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn, but at the same time, the polls wasn't so much against, wasn't so much for them, at that time. So we watch the space to see how it is. But but there's not going to be any change from Starmer. That's giving that promise that they're not going to reverse the whole process. But nothing stops the British people from eventually one day want to reverse it, just like in Nicola Sturgeon with Scotland, and they keep wanting to push. Not Nicola Sturgeon anymore, but Amazon, whatever, wanting to still
Hamza
push.
Yusuf.
Yeah, still want to push for independence. Scotland,
Well, in everybody has a right to self-determination,
Mm.
right? And if if that if that had happened, if they were successful in 2014,
Yes,
we would not be having this conversation now,
yes, yes.
right?
Well, mm, mm, yeah. Well, I think we're going through a process though, because I mean Gary, the big belly man, held the interest rate. He held it today, Gary. I mean,
Yeah,
every,
well,
every,
yeah, well. Again,
it's
this
complaining about.
is all, yeah, this is all political. It's all political moves. We're nearing a general election.
Mm,
It's only the time and date and place that's going to have to be called. The government
yes,
wants to stay in the government wants to stay in power. So he's holding off. He's been, even though they want us to believe that the Bank of England is independent, but they are being maneuvered
manipulated.
by the political part, by the political masters. So I don't
So
think,
yeah,
personally, I don't think the Labour Party, if the Conservative Party play their cards right,
mm,
in my estimation, the Labour Party doesn't. They don't have anything to worry about. The Conservative Party don't have anything to worry about. The Labour Party, I don't think, can win because they don't have a strong leadership.
Gary,
I don't believe that's for
Gary,
me anyway. Yeah.
mm.
do you
Robert,
Yes.
realize that for the entire week, this week, there'll be no trains in London?
there were no train.
The
What is it?
train
Train.
strike is for the entire week,
Yes,
right? On certain lines. There's no
Right.
Gatwick Express. There's no
yes.
train going to Brighton,
Mm.
right? And this has been the trend for the past, I would say, 3 years. Okay.
Yeah, but what can the Labour Party
No,
do?
Yeah, that's a good question. Gary's
pardon?
going to ask. But Herbert, finish that and then come to Gary. Yes.
You you cannot have a government who's inherently or who has continuously shy away from having certain critical discussions or argument with certain sectors of the society who are providing an essential service, right?
Mm.
It
No, I do.
you're
Yeah, I
you're
agree.
you're telling people.
Yeah.
Yes, Gary.
No, I do agree with you, Herbert. But again, what could the Labour Party have done that the Conservative Party cannot do? Because remember, the the the, the Conservative Party, what you see, I'm and I know you thought about it on a wider scale, but I think we've got to look we've got to always include what's happening far beyond, because what the Conservative Party has to deal with is not only what's happening within the confines and the borders of the United Kingdom, but everything else in other areas and sectors of the world
It's effective.
also
Yes.
is affecting what the UK is doing. Not only the UK, it's affecting what the US is doing. Not only the UK is affecting what other areas within even the European Union is doing. So I can't see any difference that the Labour Party, if they were in party, that they in power, that they could have done even better than what the Conservative Party is doing right now.
Can I put this question out there and put it on to TikTok? Do you think the Labour Party can make a big difference, and also on YouTube and Instagram? Do you think the Labour Party can make any difference? Do you think Keir Starmer can inspire the people of the UK to really believe that they are the persons for it at this time? I one of the things that I said earlier, and I'll say it again, and one thing I missed out on was the fact that the pandemic came in and that affected the whole process of having a stable ground to operate on, even when Boris won the election. And then you have the war, which is with Ukraine and Russia, which has been taking place, which affected the oils, affected oil. I mean, even cooking oil. I was even complaining a lot, because every week I was complaining about my orange juice. My orange juice jump up, man. I was upset about my orange juice going up. I saw that it dipped back down. But
Well, it started going up from we decided to leave the EU.
no,
So
orange juice went up big time. It made a massive jump,
after
and
the invasion,
yeah, and
yeah,
after Russia, yeah, oil and thing went up phenomenal after the invasion of
yes,
Ukraine. Yes,
yes. But remember, after January 31st, right? A liter of
2020.
petrol that was, yeah,
Yeah,
a liter of petrol that was in the low 109, 110 went up to
yeah.
150, 160,
Mm,
right? And then they started to blame us, the citizens, for the price of the petrol going up.
mm,
They couldn't get any petrol out. They had to call in the army to deliver
yeah.
because the drivers went back to Europe.
Mm,
Okay? So all this was a knock-on effect of the stories that they told people
mm,
that would have that things would have been better if we leave the EU.
yeah. Well, you
Because
see
what
what?
they told
Yeah,
people were stories.
yeah. Well, you see what Coolby just said a while ago, which I picked up on. The supermarkets were playing us because they had some £5 billion profits. Who was winning? And also what I found very interesting, and Gary, we spoke about this so many times, that yes, the Shell, the BP, and all these companies were making some bumper profits, serious, massive profits at the same time, playing the people. You know, that's what was happening. I don't think there was a need for some of these massive price hike instantly when you're seeing these massive bumper profits. Shell, BP,
Sylbourne,
yeah,
Sylbourne,
yeah,
let me say this, right?
mm,
We live in a market-driven economy.
yes,
And when you have trucks coming across the border, or lorries as it is in the UK, coming across the border, and have to be waiting 8, 10 hours to be cleared
Mm.
Remember, the French immigration officer stopped working for a couple of days.
Mm.
Remember that? And where you have that disruption, we're going to have shortages on our shelves.
Yes, yes,
And when shortages start happening, it now becomes a business of supply and demand.
yes.
It is going to drive the prices up. And
Mm.
it has driven the prices up to the point where people cannot afford energy
Yeah,
or food.
yeah. I still think that a lot of these guys are monopolizing the whole thing at the same, even though, as you rightly say, it's a market environment. But I think they're monopolizing the whole thing and monopolizing these prices. Because even today, sometimes you go to some places, you see the prices going up, and you wonder how come the prices are going up like that, you know. But I think if you go back to the whole bit about interest rate, as I said, these are competing factors that brings it up. The Bank of England, what it's saying is that they are more looking now towards in a drop, you know. They said the Bank of England has held interest rates of 5.25%, but indicated it is edging towards cutting borrowing costs. And the governor was grilled today as to, you know, are you taking into consideration the mortgages and how people are feeling it if it's going to drop? But there are lots of different factors there, you know. And he said at the latest meeting, the bank said it had discussed cutting rate with inflation. The pace of price rises set to fall quickly this year, but the bank's governor said it would wait for firm evidence that inflation was under control before doing so. Do you think that is political maneuvering, Gary, to sort of shed some light? Because Labour tend to always mess up things, you know. Labour always mess up things at the start.
No, yeah. Listen, I think in the world today, when you
Mm,
look at like, let's say conservative parties, they may be called by
yeah,
different names in different countries, and the Labour Party, which is called by different names in different countries, like Labour is Democrat and the Conservatives is Republican, or the Labour in Jamaica is the Conservative here, and the PNP is the Labour Party here.
PNP, PNP linked to the Labour Party. Yeah, yeah, yes, that's correct.
So therefore, what I'm saying is that we will all it will always be seen that the Conservative Party is the
Mm,
party of business. The Republican is always the party of business. The
yes,
JLP is always the party of business because they're more saying, or the differences are less government, less of government, less red tape, whereas the Labour Party, Democratic, PMP, and all of that kind of brings in um, more control, more of government, and everything like that.
yes,
I think what the Conservative Party is doing to some extent is more or less doing is acting and behaving like a Conservative Party. They
yes,
don't want to raise taxes. They don't want to raise interest rates. They don't want to do this or do that. That is unique to a free economy, free market
yes,
system. I think that's what
yes.
Herbert was saying.
Mm,
Whereas in the Labour Party or in them type of politics, it's more of government. More, we must be able to look after the people. We must be able to
be,
provide
be be
goods
there
and
for
services.
everything. Being there totally. Yes. Yeah.
Right, right. So at this moment in time, I'm just saying again, the
Mm,
Conservative Party is not doing a very good job.
mm,
Yes, they're not doing a good job. But I can't see the Labour Party coming in and doing any better. To tell you the truth, I can't see that. There is no party, not even if you put the Liberal Democrats in, not even
yeah.
not even if you put the monster raving loony party in, can they do a better job? You know,
Yes.
I'm just thinking. I just think and I believe that they're just doing the best that they can, looking at their policies, looking at
Yes.
the way on how the Conservative Party can put in their own way of thinking. Because look at Liz Truss. Look what she wanted to do. I mean, it was observed, or it was absurd, if I pronounced it correctly. It was ludicrous for her to do what she did, but
Yes.
she was only doing, leaning towards a extreme market led economy. She
Economy.
wanted, yeah, she just wanted just to allow the markets to just
Of its
run the economy, just
Yeah.
run it.
Yes. Yes.
That's what
Yes.
she wanted, and 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 the markets were saying that is madness. Don't do that. But she
Yes.
felt if the Conservative Party was allowed to do that, that the economy would bounce back. Now it didn't work. It was throwing everything into reverse.
Mm.
Labour Party, they would have come in now and completely pull up handbrakes, right? You would have seen tire skids on the roads,
Mm.
politically talking now, and a lot of screeching, because as far as they're concerned, government must step in. Government
Yes.
must take hold of
Mm.
things. So
Yeah.
at this time, the government, the bank of governor, or the bank governor, the big belly man, he's only doing what he can
Yeah.
do, what he's supposed to do under the conservative rule at this time.
So your view is that he's being controlled and manipulated, even though at the same time the official word out there is that we are not having any control. That's what Rishi said. That's what the Bank of England. That's what
Yes.
Jeremy Hunt will say. We are not in any control. Herbert, do you believe that the Bank of England governor is being manipulated by those at the top, or is independent?
I wouldn't say being manipulated, but what I will say is that of all the major countries in the world,
Yes.
right, England is the only country that does not have a written constitution,
Yes.
right? And because of that, we are in the position where they can call an election at any time,
No. 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 No.
right?
No. 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 No.
Hold on,
Okay. Go on. Go on. Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
So for them to be kicking the can down the road
Yes.
and replacing a prime minister with a prime minister continuously,
Mm.
because in 4 years we've had four prime ministers
Yeah.
without having a general election.
Yes.
Yes, I think that is not something a democracy is,
For,
or what a
I,
democracy look like.
yeah, I really want to jump in there because that is really actually an
Yes.
active democracy. An active democracy whereby you can remove parliamentarian, remove a leader. That is democracy at work in its
No,
fullest.
but Sylbourne,
Yeah.
how can you govern forever and ever, amen, without having an election where people say, we're tired of your style of governing, we
Yes.
need a change. But you're instead forcing your style, your ideologies down people's throat, telling them this is what we have and that's what you're going to get.
Well, the understanding is that in a Westminster system like what we have here, just like with Jamaica, within a 4 year, 4 or 5 year term, Andrew Holness could have been replaced by 2 or 3 times by someone else if the party decided to vote for no confidence in him. And likewise, in the Conservative, there was a vote of no confidence in Liz Truss, vote of no confidence in, is it Boris?
In Boris Johnson
Yeah,
and Theresa May.
yeah, vote of no confidence, and that is
But
what happened. Wait. Under the 1922 committee, but also under the Fixed Term Parliamentary Act, which has governed how UK parliamentary elections have been called in 2011, irrespective if there is a constitution or not. What the UK have is an unwritten constitution, which is regulated by precedent, judicial precedent. An election could only be triggered outside of the normal 5-year parliamentary cycle by one of two scenarios. If 2/3 of the House of Commons voted in favor of one, or if the government lost the vote. And this is what happened of recent days with Boris at the time, when Boris called for that election there. And they were trying to get the election to just go for the vote. So what I'm trying to say is that even though there is not a constitution which is written, the UK actually have one of the strongest unwritten constitution, based on the fact
Yeah,
that
but
there's regulation and there's judicial precedent, and in many ways, and with
so
conventions, all those
wa-
things. Yeah.
watch this now.
Mm.
Rishi Sunak has been in office since
2 years now. I think he's 2 years
last
now.
year,
I think it's 2 years now. I think he's in there for 2 years now.
right?
I think he
So,
said 2 years
all
is
right,
the, yeah.
he can serve. He can serve 4 years and then hand over the reins to
He can serve up to 8 years. He can serve up to
a
16
party
years.
member,
He can no,
right?
he can't hand it over. It has to go through a process
No,
whereby
but
no,
yeah,
he can't hand it over. He can't just hand it over.
Sylbourne,
Yeah,
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 Sylbourne.
yeah.
Remember, Boris was kicked out through the back door,
Oh, right to
right?
the front door. Right to the
And
front
he
door.
wanted to make a return. Yes,
Yes,
save and except for the scandals that he found himself in.
yes,
Okay, so if Rishi Sunak feel the need, he kick the can go down to Brixton, and somebody else kick it from Brixton go down to Kennington.
mm,
So we do not have an election, but we have a change of prime minister without
and
having a general election.
yes, but that is how the Westminster system work. Just
It
because
shouldn't be.
I know that's where you need to challenge the powers that be, because what happened is that the party structure, none of us are in a position to vote for Rishi Sunak. None of us. Even if Rishi Sunak was going to, even if they're going to be election, none of us right now are able to vote for Keir Starmer at the next election, unless we are living in Keir Starmer's constituents. However, who vote these persons in are the parliamentary party and the membership. Like myself, I'm a member of one of the parties here, and I voted for the parties, and I voted for. I'm not in the
You voted
parliament.
for Liz Truss.
I don't think I voted for Liz Truss. I'm trying to
You should
remember if
have
I
bought a head of lettuce instead.
I don't know if I voted.
It would have lasted longer than Liz Truss.
I don't think I voted for Liz Truss. I'm trying to remember if I had voted for Liz Truss. Did I vote for Liz Truss? But yeah, it's a system which many people don't like, and I can understand exactly what they mean, because for the Conservative to have 3 leaders or so, or chancellors within the space of a couple of years or so, and people don't get a chance to have a say in it except the selected few of persons from the party, they must feel like they're being ripped off. And what Michelle said, we're not living in a democracy. It's an illusion, And my recent discussion with Professor Rosalie Hamilton, which I did last week, Sunday, we talk about the voice of the people in a democracy. Does it exist? Does it, or do we just wait until the 4 years or the 5 years? That is when we can actually come in and effect a form of democracy. So therefore,
What we have is some certified landlords.
Huh?
What we have is some certified landlords.
Certified landlords.
Yeah.
Well, we have some. Garry, you need to be a landlord then. You need to be some landlord.
I don't know. I mean, I that statement that Michelle gave is very interesting. It's an illusion. I don't know. I don't think we're living in an illusion.
Yes.
But what I do believe is that our political masters, they think that we don't know what's going on.
Yes, they think without a sense. That's my favorite
Yes.
saying. They think without a sense, especially Jamaica, I must say. Jamaica
Well,
thinks
that's what I'm
without.
saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Because the landlord comes around at the end of each month to pull up a blade of grass to remind you that he's the landlord and he's here to collect his rent. So he's going to do something to show his presence.
yes.
Alright.
Yes. Well,
So
guys,
to his government.
yeah, guys, as you can hear the music there, it's time to wrap up. But just one more thing before I left, and for the benefit of even Michelle while she's there, is that in the USA, um, repeated US and UK airstrikes against the Houthis in Yemen have failed to slow their attack on ships in the region. BBC verifiers found there have been 9 attacks on ships in the past 3 weeks, compared with 6 in the previous 3 weeks. Since the US-led strikes began on 11th of January, shipping using the vital Red Sea trade route has dropped by 29%. You know, it's like the US, in a sense, or the US-led bit is getting a fight and not being very effective. I mean, American troops are being hit left, right, and center, and there's no response. Is that Joe is
I
sleeping?
wouldn't say being hit left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But what is happening is that you're trying to keep the cost of basic items down. That
You mean by
shipping lane,
keeping it within that route?
yes, because they could have chosen a different route, which would have been longer.
Mm.
Hence, the food would have taken a longer time to get onto the shelves, so Michelle and other people in America can get food to buy.
Would it affect
Right?
us? Would it affect us in the UK?
Yeah, everything geopolitically has and will affect people across the world. And we saw it back in 1990 when we had the first Gulf War. Oil
Yeah.
prices went sky high
Yes.
without any form of coming back down since then.
Yeah.
Right?
Well.
So
Yeah.
we have to look at the geopolitical landscape every day and how it affects our lives, the stock market, everything that is intertwined with it.
Yes. 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 All right. Well, listen. Gonna say good night. Any last word, Michelle? Thank you for that. The policies of the government is forwarded by corporatocracy and then presented to the government and then become government policies. And Your Holiness tonight has called the local government election for February the 26th. Nomination day is February the 8th. I'm glad that they're going to keep it within the month and it doesn't stretch over. And I just hope that the people of Jamaica really, I hope that the people of Jamaica really come out and exercise. Do you think people are interested in the local government election vis-a-vis the general election?
Yeah, I think they still have an interest in it because it is one way of dictating where the generals will go, as well as dictating how they're governed at the local level.
Yes. So let's hope that the people really come out and do their bit, as well.
Can I ask? I mean, I think there is
Yes,
something
sir.
that I think I like to ask, so that not so much for it to be answered to tonight or today,
Yes.
but something just to keep in the minds of the people, and probably even if I don't know if Herbert or yourself could even say something on it, but in regards to what's happening in the Gulf area there with the Houthis and everything that you had mentioned just a few moments ago, if it
Yes.
was under and with President Biden, if it was under the leadership of other presidents like Ronald Reagan or like Father Bush or even of the others, what kind of leadership do you think that they would have done? What do you think that they would have done in these circumstances? Bearing in mind that they were very strong. They were very strong leaders, and they did lead, and nations took note of what they did and what they said, what do you think would have
I
taken
think
place now with them in power?
I I think back then the Israelis were much more willing, right? This Israeli leadership now is more about self gratification, trying to keep himself out of prison. Hence,
You think
the
so?
reason why he's prolonging the conflict.
You think so?
If there was no conflict,
Mm.
yes,
Mm.
yes. Because remember, he wanted to change the judiciary in Israel
Okay. Okay.
because they were investigating him,
Yeah,
right?
but yeah. Mm. Mm.
As terrible as Ariel Sharon was, he was more of an elder statesman than Netanyahu. He
Yes.
would have come to the table long ago and worked something out.
Mm. Mm. I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave that for the jury.
You,
I
you,
leave that
you,
for
you you had people like Shimon Peres,
yeah.
Ariel Sharon,
Yeah.
those Yitzhak Rabin, those
Yes.
people were adults.
Mm.
No, we have a child who doesn't want to be say, I'm not I'm not going to take your lick anymore.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So I am going to fight until the bitter end. And that is why we are now seeing the Houthis, Hezbollah, all of those groups
It's in
coming
America.
together to fight.
Mm. All right. I know, Gary. We'll stick a pin on that one and come back another time. I got to wrap up at 10 o'clock. Um, but it's worth a discussion um, at the same time. All right. All right. So listen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. Those on Instagram and those on YouTube and those on TikTok as well. I'll stay a bit over on TikTok if you don't mind, and play my tune. I've got the power. I can't play it here. And Gary, thank you for coming on. Herbert, as usual, thank you. Michelle and others, thank you very much. All right. Peace out. God bless you. Bye bye.